Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to a little Coffee with Bo here this afternoon. These are one of the, more regular types of live streams that I'm doing here on the channel. Hanging out, talking about some synth-related stuff, and just having a good time. As I got my cup here, I've actually been cutting down on the coffee. Yeah, I know it's you couldn't believe it, but it's something I've been trying to do because I've been feeling like I've been, on this constant coffee high all the time. And since I do a lot of work, pretty much every day, I don't really have days off. I feel like I needed to wind down a bit. So this is the first coffee cup of the day. And yeah, I've been doing the tea thing. I've been joking with my viewers that tea isn't my thing, but I found a spearmint tea that I really enjoy. So good morning, good afternoon. Where are you at? What time is it where you are? Drop it in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like button on the live stream. So today we're just having a chill talk. I will be answering some questions from you guys in the chat, and I will also talk about some new things that I've seen on the different news channels that I'm visiting. Just wanted to bring attention to a couple of things that I think are really cool. So we will be checking that out. Some of the stuff you might have seen, some of the stuff might be new. Hello Joe, good morning or good afternoon. Goblin, good morning. It's 7:33 in Detroit. Joa, good morning, good seeing you as well. It's afternoon in Spain. It's 12:30 in Ireland. Yes, it's all good. HSR, good seeing you as well. Blaisley, always good seeing you. Let's see, Herbert, good seeing you as well. SCRDX something, good seeing you as well. Regardless, George Duran, good seeing you. I hope I didn't butcher the name. I assume it's something like George. Joan is asking, where are you recording from? So I'm recording from my studio in Sweden. This is the studio space I occupy at the moment. It's a 4x4 meter room, and I'm located in southern Sweden. So I'm recording from that. Yeah. Joan wants to be called John. That's good. Scratchy Barker says it's 12:30 here in London. Yeah. I assume, yeah, you're in the same time zone as the Irish people. J-Rod, always good seeing you as well. Thank you for the support, J-Rod. And Andrew as well. Thank you for the support and good seeing you as well. And yeah. An undisclosed location in Sweden. Well, it's it's not like I have a problem with doxing myself, putting my personal information out there, because in reality, I'm how do you say, I'm not a public figure, but I'm employed by the government, so I don't really think that there's that much that is hidden when it comes to myself. And in Sweden as well, it's really not hard to find somebody if you want to. In Sweden, we have a very open society in that sense. So I mean, but please don't send me a matrix brute or anything. Just because you can find my address. I wouldn't know what to do with it. You have to be careful. I don't have enough space for one. So if you don't send me a matrix brute or an OB6 or something. Just don't, please. I don't want to. Please. Kind of reverse psychology going on there. So let's see here. We had a couple of questions here. I had a question earlier if I'm still using my Octatrack. So the Octatrack is sitting right over there. And yes and no. Let's see if I can phrase this correctly. In my bigger setup, something like the Octatrack has less of a dedicated role. It becomes more like a very cool drum machine, glitch machine. You've probably seen some of my videos where I've used the Octatrack to kind of create this kind of glitchy beats. I can probably show you, instead of just talking about it, I'll try and just show you. And don't worry, I'll get to pretty much every question in due time. Moog Mother 32, Octatrack, Bow Beats. So the kind of role that Octatrack fills is this kind of role. Let's see here. If we can show it to you. Yeah, so we'll switch over to screen. Oh no, this is not the video. This isn't the video. This is the drum beat. Dumb. I got a stroke. Damn. Let's see here. Here it is. This was the one I was talking about. Yeah. So this video pretty much shows how I kind of use the drum, not the drum beat, the Octatrack at the moment. It's like a quite expensive, very cool sampler slash drum machine that I can use to also affect other synthesizers. And that's pretty much what I yeah. So this is pretty much what I use it for at the moment in my current setup. It's not because it's bad or anything, it's just that it's hard to integrate, and this also relates to some upcoming stuff on my channel, where I'll probably be checking out the Analog 4 Mark II. It seems like that's the product that I will be checking out from the Electron Mark II range, because it's actually easier to integrate in my bigger setup than the Octatrack, or the rhythm is of course not hard to integrate, but yeah. So let's see here. Let me just go back a bit and see what kind of other questions. So Joey, regarding sending tracks, you can definitely send me tracks, but I can't do any one-to-one like feedback. I'm very sorry, but I only do that for a couple of patrons. But you can send me tracks whenever I announce the review streams. I'm planning to do a new review stream really soon. I just haven't gotten around to finding a good time slot for it, but it's coming, definitely. And I do mostly want work in progress, stuff that I actually can comment on. It does feel kind of strange to comment on a song that's been out for a year or something. So you can send me tracks, but it's kind of hard for me to do this kind of one-on-one feedback, because I think I get like 20 requests every week, and as you can see, that will eventually just ramp up as I do more review streams. So that's kind of the take on it. So let's see here. Let's talk about synths, says John. What do you think is the best drum machine when it comes to about performance, but also that is between 500 and 800 euro price range? So for performance, I think there's a couple of different really good drum machines. I think the one I featured myself on my channel a lot, the Drum Brute. I think that's a really solid pick for a synth, for a drum machine that has a lot of performance control. But of course, the kind of sounds you're getting out of it is a little bit limited compared to some of the other drum machines. So I think it's a good pick, definitely. And you also have the multiple outputs and inputs, not inputs, but multiple outputs that you can affect and so on. So I think it's definitely a good one. If I'm going to say something else, let's see here. Let's see if we can find a good demo. Let's see if I can find a good demo here. Yeah, so here's. See, is this a song where she's just babbling, just like myself? Yeah. So let me just. This is my girl Jade Wee from the Dallas community. See, a thumbs up on her video. I think the TR8 has a lot of hands-on control.
Once you master that scatter, it takes a little while at first, but once you get it
I'm not sure if this is a good video to show it, but it's one of her. I think it's one of her tutorials. TR8 Jammin' Tips by Jade Wee. She's also the admin of the Dallas community over on Facebook, so that's cool. And And as you can see, the TR8 is kind of this. It's kind of this modern drum machine, and some people don't like it, but I do think it has a lot of hands-on control for the type of money you're paying for it, and you should be able to get one used. So, yeah, I think the TR8 is definitely a good hands-on synthesizer. Now, also, if we go up a bit in price range, I would say the Tanzberg is probably like on the higher end. Let's see here. Yeah, we can do a from Perfect. Here's a demo from Perfect Circuit Audio. Let's check it just. See if we can find any. Yeah. And they have the Tanzberg or Tanzmaus and Tanzmaus Lite. I think they are the smaller versions. I think those are pretty good as well, with a lot of hands-on control. And they do seem to hit that kind of sweet spot where you do not really have a problem with the knobs and button being too small to still be hands-on. I think that something like the TR8 or TR08, a super annoying naming scheme, but I think something like the newly announced, the TR09 and TR8, I think they have maybe a little bit too small of knobs and buttons to be super hands-on. That's my kind of take on it from trying them out. So I would say, like in the lower price bracket, I would say TR8, then Drum Brute. Then we have in the upper price bracket we have Tanzberg, and if you want something that sounds like it but smaller, Tanzmaus. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So let's see here. The Goblin says Sweden voted best country in the world. Yes. So guys, I hope you have your cups of coffee ready. And if I want to do a little bit of a self-promotion here, if you do enjoy the live streams, both the structure ones, the review streams, the more improvised coffee streams, I'll be posting all the live stream VODs on my Patreon for the patrons, the €5 patrons. That's their kind of perk. So you get access to everything pretty much. Because I won't be posting every single live stream afterwards on my channel, because for various different reasons. But that's kind of what I'm going to do. So you can always check out the link in the description. We are getting more and more numerous over on Patreon. So yeah, John, that was my kind of answer to the drum question. Yeah. Herbert is working on an illustration and having me as a pleasant background conversation. Thank you. I hope the illustration is coming along. Joey O'Hagan says, if he finds my address, he'll send me a Timberwolf. I told Noir at Blank V, another YouTuber. I probably butchered that name pretty horridly. I told him to send me a Timberwolf. He did a review on one. Terry asks, and this relates a lot to what we were talking about. He asks, how are you finding the Drum Brute? So I am really enjoying the kind of sound that you get out of it. Since I'm not really that big on classic synths, I don't own many. I've kind of decided not to buy old drum machines, old synths. The Drum Brute is still like this flash. How do you say? Flash from the past? Something like that, yeah. It does really feel old school. It has a very certain vibe to it. It's really punchy in certain ways. It's not a 808 or 909 kind of drum machine. It's different. I think there are old school drum machines that sound like it, but I can't really name them. I know it's been brought up that it's closer to other ones. I can't remember the names. Probably somebody in the chat can name them. But I do think it's really cool. That's kind of my take on it. Let's see here. George Duran asks, Bo, I have a question for a live performance. Which mixer can you recommend for monitor, headphones, main, but for have a premix before send to main? I can't really speak to that. I don't really work. I don't really the live shows I've done. I haven't really thought a lot about what kind of mixer I want, and I haven't really had any experience with those kind of pre-mix situations before sending to main, like you're talking about. I don't really have. Perhaps somebody in the chat has a good suggestion, but I honestly have very little experience of that. Lee Huddleston, good afternoon. Lee is one of the guys working, or the main guy working on the circuit editor, so that's good having you. I know I shouldn't be sitting here live streaming. I should be working on the circuit patches. I'm sorry. Yeah, Scratchy, you can definitely create some very cool sounds with the drum root running the individual outs through FX. Yeah, that's kind of the strong point. I still use mine more like a sound module, just recording everything as pretty much a stereo into the computer. I run it through a mixer with individual outputs, so I can pan the drum roots, different sounds. I can get the hi-hats, a little bit panned and so on, and then just and then I just record it as a stereo mix, pretty much. Brains asks, would you ever get into doing movie scores? So yeah, if I were to focus more on my music, like my pure music, not the YouTube, not the patch creation, not that kind of content that I'm doing at the moment. If I would go into purely focusing on music, I would probably be doing video game music and movie scores. That would something like that. Working with commercials or something. I think it fits my kind of workflow. It's also kind of business where you need to be very fast, and I'm better at like doing somebody comes up to me and say, hey, I need this for this. Here, you got a week. I'm probably better at that than sitting and tweaking my songs for a year to release an album. If I were to focus even more on my music, I think movies and commercials and video games would be kind of where I went. Joey says, I'm still waiting for Bo Beats to go modular. Yeah, I got the Mother 32 sitting over there, and I have the Beatstep Pro behind me. So that's kind of the starting point, isn't it? It feels like I could do something with that. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. Joey says, the TR8's sound is great and it's very reliable. Exactly what you would want for live use. Yeah, that's kind of my thing with it. It's big and robust and it sounds good enough to bring on stage. Of course, it's not a sound design monster, but it's good enough. And also, if you look at like TR08 and TR09, the smaller boutiques, I don't want to stand on a stage, fiddling those small knobs. I would get super anxious that I hit something by accident. So, and I have small hands. I have the Trump hands. Justin Olsen, good seeing you as well. Justin, thank you for the support over on Patreon, Justin. And Justin is one of the guys that I reviewed one of his, or I didn't really review your song. I just played one of your older tunes on the review stream, a super pleasant tune, and I hope to feature some more of your electronic music on the next stream. You're asking if I talked Electron out of an analog heat for your drum root. Nah, not really. I might speak to, if you guys hit the like button enough, I might speak about what I actually got from Electron. But you really slap that like button. It's not super secret, but Yeah, Lee, everyone deserves a coffee. Justin asks, do you have any experience with Q Nexus Mixer? So let's see, I think I know which one this is, but let's see here. I assume this is the one, the Keith Macmillan stuff that you're talking about, right? You're talking about this one. So these different, yeah, you can replace a lot of stuff with the K-Mix. So I have had zero experience other than what I've seen people write, and I've seen videos on it. And you know, how I kind of approach my opinion on different various gear is that I kind of try and synthesize the opinions of a lot of people that I meet online with the stuff I see and hear, and I try to like form an opinion. How are people talking about something? How are people perceiving it? Does it get recommended a lot? Do people complain about it? And from that, I think it's fair to say that the Keith Macmillan stuff comes highly recommended by a lot of people. It's very rare that I see somebody complain about it. It's very rare. And it's very often that it's recommended. So, of course, just because something is recommended a lot doesn't necessarily mean that it's good and that it fits your needs. But at the same time, since there's so much gear hate and so much, you know, trash talking of different manufacturers, I think that if a piece of gear like this is a pretty, you know, original kind of idea. And if a piece of gear like this does get a lot of attention and a lot of praise, I think it says something. So it was definitely, I can say it like this, the K-Mix and yeah, was really a contender for when I was looking for a mixer. I got the Soundcraft EPM that was super cheap, like 200 euros, and I just got it because I didn't really know what I needed. So I didn't want to spend more money and realize that it didn't fit me. So I bought the most simple solution. Yeah. Mario Glevas asks, Zoom multi-stomp for drum brute. So the multi-stomp, I'm not really sure exactly which one you mean. Let me just Google it so I'm not speaking out of... Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. I thought this was the one. Yeah, so from the multi-stomps that I've come across, this one here is kind of the one that people seem to recommend a lot. The multi-stomp, Zoom multi-stomp MS70 CDR, chorus delay reverb multi-effect. And yeah, I think that's probably a very, very interesting purchase. The reason why I think it's a very interesting purchase is because it's so many different... I kind of regret I didn't buy it. I bought the TC Hall of Fame reverb, and that sounds really good, but it's just a reverb. I kind of missed out on a lot of the other effects from the Zoom multi-stomp. And for the price you're paying, especially if you can find a used one, I think you can't really go wrong. It's like one of those products, you know, a lot of people recommend them. There's very few people saying that they are bad. It's just too good a value for the money, I think. It's just that good. Unless you want to spend like 5 times more and get something super, super good. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Ah, Ling. Hello, Ling. Good seeing you as well. You have one of those Zooms. They're all in mono, which are fine. I don't think this isn't in mono. I'm pretty sure that the CDR here, it has left right. Yeah, so I would be very surprised if it's in mono. That would surprise me a great deal. I'm pretty certain it's not mono. Yeah. Yeah, and Joe, just like you say, the Hall of Fame and their flashback and so on, yeah, they sound really good. Definitely good. So let's see here. I just want to go back up. Matthew Laurent, good seeing you as well. Zero Tech, good seeing you as well. Anybody else that I missed out on saying hello to? I think I said hello to DJ Rex Paris. Hello there. I hope you guys have a sip of the coffee already. Brains asks, do you see yourself getting into the ambience genre? Not really. You know, I've dabbled with some ambient and ambience kind of focused music, and yeah, but I don't think it's me. I think I would make like one track and that would be it. JS, good seeing you as well. Hi Bo, never use a DAW. I have Sonar Home Studio but not installed it. What would you recommend to get started? Use Sonar or Reaper or something else? I have hardware but never recorded anything. JS, what kind of hardware do you have? Just, you know, describe what kind of hardware you got, and the chat will probably give you some suggestions as well. Good, Matthew. Good. Running the Nespresso ragged. Nespresso, that's the one with the capsules, right? That you put in and you get your little cup of coffee. I can't handle that stuff. I can't handle it. I have fully automatic espresso machine. People are like crying on my channel like, oh, you're drinking filter coffee, or drip coffee. Is a more pleasant way of telling what it is. Drip coffee. And people are like, you need to get into the espresso stuff. And I'm like, yeah, been there, done that, drank too much, got all jittery, you know, did like the double espresso every morning for a year when my child didn't sleep more than like 4 hours every night. And no, not going back. So yeah. And Matthew, you're also feeling a bit tense, so that's good. That's good. Just keep those espressos. I even had like the coffee machine, a plan for having the coffee machine in the studio for a while, and just, you know, having it ready, just add some water in the morning, have it ready for whenever. But I realized, you know, self-preservation, that I would get so destroyed by that. So yeah. Yeah, so that's cool. So guys, I did put up some news posts as well, or I did check out some stuff that I wanted to just show you guys and talk about. And of course, you can just leave comments as we go. And JS says he has the TR8, the JX03, Volca Bass, Volca FM, Micro Korg, plus RC330 looping, Korg monologue pocket operators. So you have a pretty solid rig there. And yeah, Octopad. Yeah, so that's cool. So basically, you, in reality, JS, I think you should. Okay, so here's it's a very complicated question for me to answer. You know, what kind of DAW should you invest in? I think you should try First off, you need a sound card. If you don't have a sound card, you need to get something. You can get something simple, or you can get something with many inputs. Tascam, for example, has a I think they have a big one with a lot of inputs that is pretty cheap. So you need something to, you know, connect your gear to, or going by a mixer. Okay, so you have a quad capture Roland. Yeah, that's cool. And yeah, so what I would do is I would test out different DAWs, basically try and get the demo versions of as many DAWs as you can, and see, you know, can you just get a feel for it, test them out, because often a DAW is kind of a lifelong relationship, if you will. So when I started out, I didn't really have anything to choose from, so I just started with Cubases, and that's all you know. Yeah, so that's just what I started with. And I would try, you know, see Reaper, see if you can get a hold of a light version of Cubases, or a Cubase. Ableton, you could try out Ableton and so on. But yeah, and like Dunk Edwards says, that if you want to do a little bit more a legal route, that's also a possibility, but that's on you, nothing I advocate. And yeah, but I do think torrenting, if you torrent something just to test it before you buy, I don't see that as a huge moral issue. as long as you actually buy it. But yeah. So I would try out a couple of different draws and just simply see what you gel with. I think that's the most important thing, that you kind of understand the structure of the DAW so it doesn't become a problem. So yeah, it's good. It's always good good to buy the stuff. I mean, if we can afford the hardware, we can probably afford the software. And JS, if you want to, I have a video on the channel right now that came out late last night about Bitvig. It's like a Ableton Live like DAW, but it's more focused on the timeline, just like in Cubase. So you can check that video out later as well and see if if it appeals to you, the kind of workflow. But I think in general, if I'm just going to give you one advice, like a safe bet, I would say that Cubase is a really safe bet if you don't really know what you want. And the reason for Cubase being a safe bet is that the kind of linear approach that Cubase has, as well as Steinberg being a very solid company supporting their products, it's very easy to connect everything to it and making it work. That would be my kind of argument. And the Logic is of course good as well, but I do think for the last 5 or even 10 years, Cubase have had the upper hand. So I wouldn't perhaps recommend something like Ableton Live unless you're familiar with DAW music production. Yeah, okay, so if you want something straightforward, easy to learn, I would go for something like Cubase Artist. Let's see here. Let me just bring it up. Cubase Artist. And you can even go you could even, I can't remember if you can upgrade from the cheaper one, but I think this one here, this is upgradable as well. So let's just show you. Cubase Artist 9 is very solid. Let's see here, I can't remember what kind of price is it. So Cubase Artist 9 is about 300 euros, but then you can always upgrade to the Pro version if you want to down the line. I think the Cubase Artist 9 is very solid. It's one of those, it's definitely, a pretty straightforward DAW for sure. JJS, the Reason for using Cubase. So maybe Reason after all. I wouldn't recommend Reason. Reason is really good, but it's also quite complicated. So yeah. So Cubase Artist 9, it's definitely not like a super budget version. It has a lot of good stuff in it. So, and I use Cubase 9 Pro, and I do think that when I compare it to something like Reaper, I tried Reaper a lot. Something like Bitvig, something like Ableton Live, even Machine. I think Cubase is a little bit more straightforward in some ways. Some ways are just very simple. And it also has very good connectivity. So in Cubase, I think this goes for Ableton Live and Bitvig, that when you can connect external stuff, it's not always that that it shows up. You have to kind of install it, or you have to, can tweak it. But when I just plug something in Cubase, it instantly recognizes it. It's very fast in that way as well when I use hardware. That's something I like a lot. So the kind of support Cubase has for other gear and how you kind of interconnect it. Very solid. It's just very, very solid. Piotr says, I'm a Cubase user, but I'd say for newcomers, Ableton Live is a good way to go. In Studio version, lots of native plugins, and it's not as complicated as Cubase. Yeah, it's very hard to say what's complicated. I mean, of course, some people will find Ableton easier to use. So here's just to kind of elaborate on why I think linear DAWs and not clip and scene based DAWs are more simple to use, is because I've seen so many beginners struggle with song structure when they're starting to record into a DAW. So when you're starting to record into a DAW, the kind of way our brains work is that like a song, it has a start and it has a finish, and once you start to incorporate clips and those kind of functions, I know that Ableton has a linear view as well, but it just seems that the kind of structure that it is there in Cubase and in Logic and Pro Tools as well is kind of more intuitive to somebody who hasn't used or worked with a lot of music before. To a lot of people anyway, and I think that's the reason, for example, why Fruit Loops back in the day, Fruit Loops didn't really have that kind of song mode. It was more like a drum module, like a drum machine, step based, I think, and they of course incorporated that linear view. So but I guess it's very hard to say. I mean, I've used Cubase for such a long time, so it's very hard for me to kind of put myself in the shoes of somebody else and say this is definitely the right way to go. I just think that the big DAWs are of course Ableton Live and Cubase at the moment. Those are kind of the big DAWs for song and music production, and then we have Pro Tools that is probably more used as a tool for mixing. And then of course we have Bitwig, kind of underdog, and we have Reaper, also kind of an underdog but also very popular in some circuits. And then we have the Fruit Loops people. I don't really know where they fit in. Hip hop, trap, if you some EDM producers use that as well. I think it's definitely popular, but I have such a hard time putting a value on Fruit Loops as compared to the others. It's very hard for me. So hello, Studio Geek. Always good seeing you. Ghost Wind. He comes winding through here. Good seeing you as well. Yeah. AA Battery. Good seeing you as well. Reason. Yeah, Reason is very cool. Reason from my Swedish dogs. Yeah, and Studio One. So there's so much to choose from. And I don't think there's like any bad DAW out there. And there's Sonar as well. I think, but what I recommend is more based on the fact that Cubase is the one major DAW that has a long history, an amazing support from its manufacturer, and is still kind of this state-of-the-art, super, super credible DAW that a lot of professionals use. And why I don't include Pro Tools is probably because I'm a little bit biased that Pro Tools is not perhaps the most efficient DAW when it comes to using a lot of virtual instruments. That would be my kind of take on it. But it could be that I'm not up to date. So it's kind of hard, keeping track of all the DAWs. Yeah. JJS says, when I started with DAWs quite a long time ago, I used several versions of Cubase. When I took electronic music up again not so long ago, I just knew that I wanted Ableton Live. Don't regret it. Yeah, I think Ableton Live is amazing, just like Bitwig as well. I think they have something going for them that Cubase does not. That Cubase kind of falling behind on the kind of live jamming away, creating clips. The stuff that also Machine from Native Instruments got going on for itself as well. Machine is great for hardware synths. So I'm just not very accustomed to that kind of workflow. But I'm getting there. I might jump on the Ableton Live train as well. I've tried it. I don't find it complicated, but it's kind of hard for me to say since I don't find pretty much any tool complicated nowadays. It's not that hard for me to take something and get into it quickly. Matthew says Cubase is kind of the granddaddy of DAWs. Yeah, it kind of became that. Like 10 years ago or something, Logic was widely used on the Mac side of things, and a lot of people used Logic. But something happened. I talked to a friend of the family, and he's been producing a lot of music, releasing a lot of music. I think he was in kind of an ambient genre, and he said like, when I stopped doing music and when I came back, I just couldn't pick up Logic anymore. It didn't do the things I wanted it, because he kind of stopped when Logic was peaking. Apple took over and did some stuff with it, and it's getting there. It's getting better. But he switched. I think he switched to Cubase because he felt like that's where the best stuff was at. So yeah, exactly. Logic turned into GarageBand Plus. So Logic is an amazing tool, especially if you're using GarageBand already on a Mac, and then you can go to Logic. That's I understand that kind of model, definitely. And just like you say, HSR, Ableton has a more fluid workflow, and that's what I kind of lack in Cubase. Damn, the day Steinberg works out some kind of mix, add some kind of clip function to Cubase, that would be amazing. Yeah, Studio Geek, I also have Logic Pro X, and it works really good. It's definitely a good DAW, nothing wrong with it. So that's okay, cool, Matthew. Cool that you checked out my Bitwig video. It's kind of just so you guys know that I do mainly hardware-focused videos, but I'm definitely trying to incorporate more software on my channel. Just checking stuff out, kind of explaining stuff, showing you new stuff as well. Because I feel like the kind of production pace I have means that there's not enough new hardware stuff to cover all the time. So I like to throw in some software as well. And I try to up the quality on the software focused videos as well. It's not as appealing to watch like software on the screen, I think, as watching hardware, but I try my best to kind of edit and make it a little interesting and kind of show you different things. So I hope you guys enjoy that as well. And let's see here. Let's see what kind of questions do we got here. So one thing, let's see here. Justin asks, Bo, do you ever have jam days to record sample materials or utilize field recordings? So yeah, I've done that. I definitely do like that. It's often the case that I kind of sit down when I have like a spare day or something. I think this week definitely I'll have one day at least where I'll be mainly just turning on my gear, just jamming away, and just see where it takes me. Record perhaps a little jam video, record some samples, maybe make some patches, that kind of stuff. So it's definitely something that goes into my workflow. Ling asks, do you use any tools for automated sample creation, taking a long recording and chopping it up at the transients? So Ling, the first time I did samples, I did like long recordings of entire like 20 sounds and started to chop them up. And then I realized that was it was a super annoying way to do it in Cubase, even if I use it like automated stuff. So nowadays I often just record just record like one sound on a channel. I do it very manually, but I do it pretty quickly. So that's the way I do it. So like one channel and just record a snippet, one channel record. But I can tell you, I don't have a workflow finished. Like it's not super efficient. I think this is the fast, or doing it inside of Machine is also very fast as well. Machine Studio is sitting over there, way back there, has amazing control for doing those kind of the kind of sampling and cutting stuff up and so on. Paul Moore asks, could you do a video about hardware integration with DAW? Yeah, that's definitely coming, Paul. I definitely want to do more stuff like that. I was thinking of doing one with Bitwig if I ever learn enough about Bitwig to do it in a good way, but I will definitely. I have this series that I'm working on called The Perfect Home Studio ? And that series will the next part will be about the patch base and kind of my routings in the studio. And I think we'll have an episode. I don't know if it's the one after that or but we'll have an episode where I talk about kind of the integration in the studio, how I make music, and definitely try and show more than talk about it. That's the kind of aim I have for this series as well. So definitely. Exactly, Matthew. First rule of hardware integration with DAW: get a lot of USB hubs, and then pray that you don't have a ton of USB noise. But I got the Electron. It's sitting over there somewhere, up there. The Electron overhub, and that actually sorted out a ton of issues. It's a quality USB hub. So yeah, so I'm using that, and I love it. I might get a second one. I need to call up Electron. Guys, I need one. Yeah. Hello, Chris. Good seeing you as well. Yeah, good having you here. This is a little coffee stream. We're just chatting away, talking about music production, synthesizers. So if you have any question or have any thoughts you want to share, so yeah. And tea is welcome. Tea is just getting you, it's getting you into the club. Tea is not getting you into the VIP section anytime soon, but it's, you're in the club, you're here, you can sit by the bar. So yeah, so this is, I'm actually having a cup of my AeroPress brew, and it doesn't really taste that good yet. I haven't really learned how to use my AeroPress, but it's getting there. Good thing. Level up to that as espresso. So let's see, we have some other questions here. Yeah, Paul, I think also when it comes to hardware setups and computers, I'm not really sure. I think some people think okay, here's my idea. Like 10 years ago, there was a lot more struggles in setting up a hardware computer setup. But today it's not really that complicated. It shouldn't really be. I mean, you can let me guys show you something. This is like a secret tip to having a big hardware rig inside of a computer. Let's see if I can find the sound card I'm thinking of. Let's see here. Let's see here. I mean, something like this. This is the Tascam US 16X08. And this has, if I'm not mistaken, it has 16 inputs. That's 16 mic inputs, and there should be, if I'm not mistaken, 16 line inputs. Is this the one? Let me just double check here. I'm not sure if this is the one with the line inputs. There should be one with line inputs anyway, with eight of each. Let's see here. Anyway, I mean, this is just one example of super cheap multi-input interfaces that some people. It's not 16 line inputs. You can, of course, I've seen people like hack. You can do some kind of hack with the mic inputs to enable line level. But yeah. So let's see here. Yeah, so it's 8 input line input at the 6.3 millimeter jacks, and then there are eight mic inputs with XLR. So, I mean, this is a sub 300 euro sound card, guys. Seriously, you guys, do you know how little money that is for that many inputs? It's super little money for that kind of inputs. And now I haven't tested it myself, but I have a viewer that pointed me towards it. He just asked a couple of questions about it, and he tried it out, and I think he was kind of pleased with it. And of course, if you go like double the money, you'll get something like the Claret 8 Pre, or it's more than double the money, but it's and it only has 8 inputs, 8 physical, and you get 8 more with ADAT. But for under 300 euro and you get that many inputs, you know, using it like a mixer, then recording, say you have two mono synths, like you have a Volca keys and sub fatty, and then you have a stereo drum machine, something like the TR-08, so up to 4, and then you have something else, say a Digitact, and suddenly you can record all those channels, boom, directly into the sound card. So yeah, so my point is just that when you go kind of DAW-less or you go for hardware setup, in today's day and age, it shouldn't really be that difficult to get your recordings, even track for track, into a computer. It shouldn't really be that much of a problem. And just to show you something else here, most of you are probably aware of this, but I think it's good to talk a little bit about it as well. Something like this. Let me show you here. This is probably one of the more bulletproof solutions. The Signature 22 MTK, the MTK version, not the 22 without MTK. This is the multi-track version. This has 16 mono inputs, 4 stereo inputs. And of course, this is not the solution if you want to run a ton of virtual instruments and have low latency. But if you want to add a lot of hardware synthesizers and you want to record them track for track, this is just an example of a very good product that enables you to do that. So yeah. And yeah, you can go K-Mix as well. K-Mix is also good. We talked about that as well. So yeah. Richard, always good having you, Richard. Good afternoon. I hope you have the sip of the coffee ready. Mine is empty. Oh, sorry, Ivan. Sorry, I jumped your question, but it's totally cool to post your questions again. It's not always easy to keep up with the chat here. Have you heard about Squarp Pyramid outboard sequencer? What are your thoughts about it if you did? I'm trying to move away from computer sequencing and have my DAW only 4x. Yeah, the Squarp Pyramid. I think it's a solid product. Perhaps I can't remember what price it is at the moment, but let's see here. So we're talking about, if you guys don't know, we're talking about this one, the Pyramid. And it's a MIDI sequencer, and from what I've heard from people, I know a couple of people who own it. Haven't tried it myself, but they tell me it's really solid. It's really cool. But I also understand that the workflow for making like a full track on it is a little bit strange in the way you kind of sequence things on it. So I can't really, it doesn't seem like it's the most straightforward answer to having a DAW-less setup. I think in general, these kind of MIDI sequencers are, how to say it? It's it can be quite, a little bit of a challenge to use them. That's kind of my same with the Entropy, I think it's called as well. It's a little bit of a challenge compared to some of the other stuff that is out there. So Ivan, something to consider as an option is to get something like an Octatrack or a Digitact with some kind of MIDI splitter or MIDI merger if you need to, merge or split the connections. That's also an option as well. Do note that the Octatrack and Digitact are 4-note polyphonic on the MIDI side, so you can't do MIDI chords beyond 4 notes. And it's also a little bit cumbersome to record and make the chords on it. But it's definitely an interesting option as well. But of the MIDI sequencers that I know of that are pure MIDI sequencers, I think I would buy the Pyramid. That's kind of my take on it. Yeah, Rod. I haven't heard anything really bad about it. I've just heard that is a little bit wonky to get into creating songs on it. I can't remember on the top of my head what it was about, but it had to do with song mode and how stuff is muted on it and so on. Marthinez, good seeing you as well. Lost, I always laugh when you see a name. Lost Jeff Ukulele says hello from Canada. Comrade, hello from USSR. Hello, comrade from the USSR, from Russia. From Russia. JJS asks, but you can record MIDI on the Digitakt with an external keyboard, right? Yeah, definitely. That's not a problem. You can connect an external keyboard and record it into the Digitakt, but just a 4-note polyphony. And and also the polyphony on, it's kind of paraphonic polyphony. So if you don't know what that means, it means that you can have a 4-note chord, but the chord, the length of the chord will be the same, for every single note. You can't have like the first note drop off a little earlier. You don't have that kind of deep editing of the MIDI. GG Rex Perry says that he did order a Circlon 3 years ago, never received it. So yeah, I've heard about that. Super long wait for those Circlons. I had a chat with my local synth shop in London last week, and they mentioned there might be new Korg stuff coming in October. Anyone heard anything? No, I haven't heard anything from Korg. Korg and I aren't exactly, speaking personally at this point. We have talked a little bit. I talked to Korg Australia about them uploading my video to their Facebook. That was kind of funny. That was kind of funny. Companies being often very protective of their copyright, and they took my entire YouTube video, ripped it, and re-uploaded it to their Facebook. I have never seen something like that before. Super funny. Super funny. But they were, I told them it's totally cool. It's totally cool. Discophone, good seeing you. I understand if you can't stay. It's totally cool. Yeah, exactly. Justin, Akai MPX, the MPC-X or MPC Live. Yeah, that's also a very interesting solution for a MIDI sequencer. And I don't think they have any polyphony issues. I mean, that's a computer in a box that basically runs the MPC software, and the MPC software shouldn't have any like MIDI limits. That would be super strange. Chris Mouth, no, Korg and I are totally cool. It's all good. It's all water under the bridge, but it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny that they did that. So I kind of told them like, guys, next time just ask me. Yeah, JJS, alert the legal department on that one. Shame on Korg Australia. Yeah, I just think somebody somebody had, didn't think, I don't think that somebody did it maliciously, but it was kind of funny. And I reached out and I told them like, yeah, it's totally cool that you link my stuff and you can re-upload it if you ask. It could be in my interest that you do that, but you have to ask first. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, JJS. I should have pushed them like, guys, give me something. They would probably just attempt like a Korg Volca. They're like slapping me on the hand like, here you go, boy. Northern Cat, good seeing you as well. Good morning. So I had, guys, I'm glad I'm streaming. I had such a rough morning. I didn't get anything done. I did get a lot of stuff done, but it felt like I didn't, progress. I just did a lot of boring administrative work with the company and all. And I wanted to fire up the live stream, but for some reason, my PC just didn't connect to the internet. That's PC. PCs are so great. My custom built PC, super. I mean, suddenly it just doesn't connect to the internet. Who would have known? And I just left it on for an hour and suddenly it connected. And all my other computers worked and the connection worked. It's super strange. Let's see here. Burma have Tom something. It's super strange name. Did Korg at least link your video in the description? Yeah, yeah. They linked to the video, I think, and a link to my Salify where I have my Korg patches, and yeah, they did. So it's all cool. It's all cool. I think I got some sales on my Minilog patch collection. So if somebody in the chat here is curious, I did release a Minilog patch collection. Most of you have heard about this, but I need to plug it anyway. So most of you have seen that I made 100 new patches for the Minilog, and it's available here. And yeah, Korg linked it, so I did have some sales on that as well. So that's super cool. Burma Shave, a song by Tom Waits. So I'm not really acquainted with the Tom Waits stuff. I know who he is, of course, but yeah, it's cool. Let's see here. Crackapow! Crackapow! Get yourself together and make some more Digitact vids, Bo. So guys, I have a huge list of Digitact vids I want to make, but I did feel I burned out a little bit on the Digitact stuff, you know, for doing like, I think I did 7 videos over 7 days, and then I think at least I did 5 more. I'm not sure if I released all of them. I think I released one of them for patrons over on patreon.com/BoBeats if you want to go and check it out. But yeah, so videos I have upcoming are, I have a very cool video coming on Wednesday. So on Wednesday there's a cool video coming about, it's kind of a, you know, a general video about something I think you guys all need in your setup. It's a very inexpensive sub 50 euro little device that I'll be talking about, just because I thought it was funny to find it for that price, and because I've been searching for a cheap one for a long time. And then we'll probably have a new studio, yeah, the perfect home studio setup, part number 3. I hope to get it done. I'm still working on it. I don't want to, you know, I want to put down some more hours on it. And we'll also have a Korg Minilog, another sound design tutorial coming up as well on the channel a little bit later, perhaps next Monday maybe, about bass. So it's a little bit about how to approach bass on the Minilog. And yeah, and there might be a funny little video with my daughter. She does a cameo in one video. I'm not sure if I'll release it on Facebook or on YouTube, but probably on YouTube. It did turn out pretty well. It's kind of a synth stand assembly video with my cute daughter helping out. So let's see here. Yeah, and part 3 about in my, I do want to make like my studio. I know a lot of you guys like the kind of, you know, the sexy shots of the studio and talking about connectivity and workflow and have stuff set up and so on. And I also change things up a bit over the time. So I hope to do these videos more regularly, but I still haven't really found like the perfect flow for them, the kind of the way I want to make them, because some things are kind of technical and boring, and I still don't just want to, you know, point the camera at something and talk for 30 minutes. So I'm working on the kind of editing. It's not my strong suit, but I'm working on it. Probably I'll have my wife help me out shoot parts of it to make it more come alive a little bit more. So part number 3 of the Perfect Home Studio setup videos will be about the patch bass, just, you know, giving you an idea of how I use them. And I think we'll be talking the MIDI setup as well, the MIDI setup with the Digitact in center as well. So that's pretty much the idea. And in part 4, I think we will be getting into making a better workspace for the circuits. That's kind of the idea for part 4. And part 5, I can't remember, but I did have a plan for part 5 as well. Let's see here. Did I have that? Yeah, I think I had a part 5 planned out as well. I have so many plans, guys. It's just about the time and effort I have I have, can I show you guys? I have like, let's see if it probably doesn't show here, but I have like countless of scripts. I have probably over 200-300 decent ideas. So that's kind of how I work. I just have so much going on, and then I just pick something. And it's, you know, it's not always the best things I pick, but I try to. So let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay, let me just. I can just read you some of the ideas I have here for video ideas. I had one idea that Discophone told me I should do, like talking about hands-on synthesizers. So that's an idea for video, talking about like the best hands-on synthesizers. I have one here that is titled "Why Beginners Should Be Careful of Buying Too Many Synths." That's a good one, and I know some of my friends need to think about this. My top 3 soft synths or VST synths. And then I have a fun one. The synth that got away. That's definitely becoming a reality. It's a really cool script. The synth that got away. You know, that one synth that you always wanted but you never bought. You know, that synth, like you're looking at it in a store, and you know it's beyond you. You know, you won't ever get it. And of course, I need to do a video on Syntronic from IQ Multimedia as well. And yeah, I have some more ranty videos. I'm not sure if I'll do those, but yeah. I have an idea of doing one on my biggest flaw as a producer, and yeah, the Beats the Pro, and yeah, there's just so much cool stuff I could be doing videos about. So yeah, it's all coming. Neil Guys is asking, hi, do you still use the Innovation Circuit? Yeah, I have them, but I'm currently not using them as much. It's mainly because I don't have the time, really. I have other stuff I need to cover on the channel. So and also because I'm trying to figure out like a setup for my circuits at the moment, like a new perfect circuit setup with my 2 circuits. So it's, you know, I need to work on it. Yeah, so yeah, and it's yeah, the idea is to do a video, and we're talking about like video plans here, Neil. One video plan is to do one that is called let's see here, why did I buy 2 circuits? So that's a video with the circuits, but I need to work on it a little bit more, the idea and how to do it. But it's definitely something I want to explore more and basically show you why it's so fun to have. The 2 circuits are amazing, but I just need to, I think what I will do is I'll take some of the other hardware stuff away from a big rig, and I'll, you know, put it in a little smaller setup, and you know, but it's, and one thing you guys have to understand is that and I think Michael from the Cabinet of Curiosities spoke on this in his latest studio tour, a super nice studio tour. He spoke on this, that when you make videos with all these hardware stuff, it's kind of hard because you do want to have stuff connected because you want to make music, but you also want to kind of disconnect and connect, you know, make smaller rigs, and suddenly you kind of run out of space, and it becomes a hassle setting everything up. So I'm still working on it, really. It's a space issue, and of course I probably should sell some stuff, you know, but it's, you know, I'm trying to figure that out. So oh, Paul, that's a cool idea, aggregate device setup. Yeah, I'm not sure I could do it justice though. It seems a little bit technical and complicated. But it's a good idea. I've thought about that as well, because it's a very easy and interesting way to get more ins and outs of your sound cards. So that's cool. So let me just I just want to get back. Jigwig, good seeing you as well. Arc Audios, good seeing you as well. So I'm just going to go back a little bit here in the chat and see if I missed any interesting questions here. I spoke here at length about some of my plans. So Albie Welch says, hello Bo, just recently got into your channel, awesome content, just wanted to know if getting into MIDI and gate CV was hard for you at first. Any tips for newcomers like me? I'm not really exactly sure, Albie, what you're referring to. Gate and CV was a little bit tricky to understand coming from MIDI and audio and thinking about voltages and stuff. So basically what I did was that I started out with the analog keys and wanted to hook it up to the Moog Sub 37 with CV and gate and so on. And basically what I did, I just read a lot about it to try and figure out like, what are the values? What am I supposed to be looking at? And trying to understand the basic, like the technical structure of it. And then it wasn't really hard to set it up. Paul Moore, that's a good idea for a video. Tips on avoiding gas. Yeah, definitely. I have kind of a video idea, not on tips on avoiding gas, but rather why you shouldn't be buying more synths. I think that's kind of how I approach that kind of question. And I will, in that video, if I make that video, which I think I will talk about like a mindset, why you should not be buying so much stuff. Which of course applies to myself. You know, I'm transparent and open with that I have like the same issues just like everybody else. Yeah, Crackapow has the best solution. Start playing golf and get a girlfriend. Yeah, that's then you can't buy anything more. Oh, cool. Northern Cat, you picked up Syntorial? That's super cool. Syntorial is this software for a learning synthesis that I've tried out, and it's like going to school. You really have to do it. You have to work it, but you really learn a lot from it. Studio Geek 32 asks, do you have a job or just YouTube? So I've talked about this before, and basically I do 50% of my time I do the YouTube, and 50% I work at a university as a teacher. So basically you can say that I live off my university work, and at the moment I'm just trying to get my YouTube to a level where it's not a how do you say, it doesn't go in the red, it doesn't go negative. I don't lose a ton of money doing it. That's basically kind of the aim, so that everything that goes into my YouTube, the money I get from you guys, from Patreon, from selling patches and so on, goes back into the channel. That's kind of where I'm at the moment. So that's super cool. And I'm very happy to say that we have a bunch of people over on Patreon as well supporting me. I think there are 44 patrons. So if you haven't seen Patreon before, patreon.com is the site where you can crowdfund creative endeavors like my YouTube channel, and you don't donate a certain amount every month. It could just be €1. It helps a lot, even if it's just €1, and you basically do that on a monthly basis, and you get access to some perks. There's a reward tier that I'm still working on it, but I think I've found a somewhat of a decent balance. And and all the information is over there if you want to check it out, and the link is in the description. So let's see here. Justin, Justin, I've been thinking about doing like a tutorial on how to make quality videos for YouTube. Definitely. And yeah, Justin, I definitely need an assistant. Arc Audios says that he enjoys my content, and you wonder about patches for the monologue. Yeah, so the monologue is speaking to me because, of course, doing Minilogue work, doing tutorials on the Minilogue, and doing patch collections for the Minilogue, doing stuff for the monologue would make sense. Just doing tutorials and doing patchwork on it as well. So if I can find one at a good price, I will probably pick it up. It's not that expensive, but I'm also holding back a little bit because I know there's a lot of cool stuff coming out, and a lot of stuff that I will be covering on the channel this autumn. So I don't want to stress it too much, and stress the budget and buy too much stuff, so I don't have time to really work with it. I still have the base station 2. I want to cover a little bit more, do something on it as well. So yeah. But the monologue does look really nice, and I think it, will come pretty easy working on it since I'm very accustomed and I really like the Minilogue. And the mono station, the mono station is also something that I've been. The mono station is something I've been, looking at, but at the moment it doesn't really fit a role in my setup. And I did reach out to Novation and I talked to them about getting one at perhaps like a decent price, but so far they haven't reached back to me. So that's where we're at, because I'm not in a position where I can buy every single piece of gear full price, and it wouldn't be impossible. And it's kind of hard. I do have possibility to borrow stuff from different stores, but usually I can't, it's for such a short period of time that it doesn't really make sense. I can't really do anything, substantial. So that's kind of why I'm not covering it at the moment. Philip, always good seeing you as well. So let's see here. Neil, you're talking about the quick tip series. So I had this like 2-minute tips series, but the thing is, I think I want to. I had these 2-minute quick tips about certain stuff, and Neil, I know that some of them were positively received and some of them were not. So what I'm thinking is I might do more quick tips videos or quicker, shorter videos, but I want to focus them more on music and more on synths. I think that's kind of where I'm heading, because I see that I'm spreading myself a little bit thin sometimes. I do too many things, so I need to kind of focus. JT is asking about like a sample recorder. So I'm not really sure what you're thinking, what you're after in like a mid price range, but let me see here. So I'm using, I can just show you what I'm using, JT, to sample stuff. I use a Zoom H2. So this is really cheap. I think it's around €100. So it's a very cheap solution, but there are of course bigger versions that you can get. Something like this. That lets you, I think the main point here is that you can add XLR microphones. You can add a mic to this one as well, and it's pretty low noise, so it works out pretty well. But of course, and you have different modes. You have cardioid and you have omnidirectional, because there are actually 4 mic capsules. So yeah. So I would recommend the Zoom series, definitely. There are plenty of them. You can just see what fits your budget. And I saw, yeah, Martin's creative block and motivation. That's definitely topics I want to cover as well. It's just a matter of time for scripting it out. And it's definitely those kind of psychological questions are definitely questions I want to address. Oftentimes I find that I prioritize other videos because I have some, I work so much with these questions in my other job, so I'm not super motivated myself to address them all the time. But that's definitely, like I usually say, it's like one of my cornerstones. If I have like 4 cornerstones of the channel, it'll be reviews, tutorials, gear talk, and like psychology talk. That would be like the cornerstones of the, yeah. Justin, no, there probably won't be that many nature videos, not at the moment. And we're heading into the colder season here in Sweden, so probably not. It's just annoying to bring that much equipment outside in the cold. Like, ooh. I think the closest we got to the outside was in my cabin. That was sort of outside. So, so let's see here. Chris, you have a really good question. I want to see if I can get back to your question soon. I'm just going to see if there's any quicker question to address here. Big Dap, always good seeing you as well. What do you think about the Electron Analog 4 as a polyphonic synth? I think that it's probably not the first pick for most people as a polyphonic synth. I think it's a lot better as a multi-timbral polyphonic synth. Basically that you use it as a four voice mono. I think it's a lot better as a four mono voices. Or does that make sense? Yeah, just using the 4 voices for 4 different sounds, pretty much. I think it's a lot better, because then you get the added benefit of having the reverbs and the delays and all the LFOs for each and single voice, and it just makes a lot more sense with the kind of structure on the Analog 4. But it's also something I haven't got into that deep. There will definitely be, I can say it like this, there will Jigwig, good seeing you, hope to see you later as well. But I will definitely be covering, or it's almost certain, let me say it like this, guys, it's almost certain that I will be covering the Analog 4 in more detail and in more in-depth this fall. It seems like that's where we are heading. So we have the AK, the analog keys here. There, somewhere there. We have the analog keys. So basically, yeah. So basically, I'm saying that the A4 might make an appearance. And yeah, one thing I do want to test out with the A4 is working with it like a polyphonic synth, basically using the 4 voices to create like a pad or something. That's something I definitely want to work more with and try to explain as well, and see how good can it get. So let's see here. We had a question by Chris Mouth here. Bo, with the large number of monosynths out there, both vintage and more recent, do you think there's much space left for new monosynths, and why? No, I don't think that new monosynths will be like... I think we will be seeing a lot more digital synths. I think the big analog rave is... the craze of analog is kind of hit its peak, and we'll be seeing more different synthesizers. Boutiques, of course, will come, and of course you will have your hardcore, like the Dreadbox stuff and so on, but and of course Moog stuff. But I think that we'll be seeing a lot more endeavors into the digital realm moving forward. Yeah, Goblin, I think the Roland SCO2 will also be quite interesting for many people, especially once it drops a little bit in price. I think it's a little bit pricey, to be honest. I think it's a little bit pricey at the moment, but it'll definitely be a synth that people will go to. So I think it's time, just want to do a little bit of a self-promotion here. If you guys are interested in supporting the work I do, you can head here over to Patreon and check that out. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. That's just a good way to keep up to date with what I'm doing. Basically, I'm trying to post stuff on both Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. And sometimes I post like smaller videos on Facebook and Instagram, stuff that doesn't really cut it for YouTube. So it could be cool to check out. And if you guys are curious, basically what you get if you're a patron is that you get access to a special VIP club for coffee lovers. And you also get, depending on the tier you're supporting me at, you get access to all the live stream VODs, the live stream archives. You get access to all my commercially available material, my music, and so on. So you can check that out if you want to. And don't forget to hit the like button on the live stream as well. That's always very, very helpful. So let's see here. Yeah, exactly, Richard. All the cool kids are in the coffee club. You posted some cool stuff there. Some really cool pictures. So let's see here. Yeah, Justin, a polymoog. Damn, I would love like seeing a polymoog around €1,000. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, it's probably not happening. But like €1,300 polymoog. But it's, you know, it's not happening. But something like that. Yeah, exactly, Chris. The likes are important. Perhaps, you know, it's just important to know that the likes actually helps promoting my stuff to new people, which is of course the aim I have. Of course, reaching more people, having a bigger community is always fun and helpful, and yeah. And yeah, Paul. Unfortunately, there is no schedule for live streams as of yet. I am, as of this fall, I am working part-time with YouTube for reals. I did quit my job in April, but as you can imagine, quitting my job and moving over to kind of sustaining myself in different ways took a lot of effort, and then we had summer. So, you know, it's been just a big administrative mess and practical mess of things behind the scenes. So basically, I'm just trying to figure out how I want to live stream, what I want to live stream, and just moving it up. Moving as we go here, trying to develop the kind of content. And basically, the live streams there'll be 4 types. Let's see here. We are going to do more interviews, community figure interviews. I can disclose that I have lined up Carl Michael from the Cabinet of Curiosities. So guys, if you have not seen his YouTube, I'll just link it. Let's see here, YouTube. Where is he? Let me find him. Carl Michael. Let's see here. Yeah. So this guy here. So one guy I hope to bring on is Carl Michael or Carl Mikael he's also a Swedish YouTuber. He does some really excellent content, super high quality content. But also he doesn't post as often as I do, and he's a bit more narrow in what he does, but it's super high quality, definitely worth a watch. And he's coming on, I think, later in September. So that's kind of the aim. And I think him and I can have some fun banter and fun talk. We are quite different as persons, but we share the kind of passion. And he's definitely more in depth and more knowledgeable than I am. So it's very fun and very honoring to have him on. And also I think we'll be having Tatro from Tatro. Tatro is a younger, I think he's younger than me, at least. I kind of assume he's a little bit younger. I guess I'm not sure. Can't see if I can find him. I'm not sure. How do you spell his name? Let's see here if I can find it. Yeah, here's. So if you guys are unaware, this is the YouTube to Tatro, and he does some cool stuff as well. And I talked to him about coming on to my live stream as well. And just the kind of idea I have for the live stream interviews are just a chill out talk like this. Nothing too serious, getting into different themes depending on who's on and so on. And he seems like he wants to come on as well. And yeah, I would love to talk to Uni Olilab as well, Berg, yeah. I didn't know that he was Swedish, though. I didn't know, Richard. I didn't know. And I didn't know that he lives in Malaysia. Damn, that's super cool. But I should reach out to him as well. definitely. You know what? I'll put him on my list. I have a little list here for people that I need to reach out to and talk to. And yeah, he's Olilab is often in the live stream and hanging out. He's a super chill dude. I've talked to him on Facebook and so on, and you know, super pleasant. And of course, I want to have my dudes, Jacob Hack and Accurate Beats. You guys probably know them. I do want to reach out to Mark Doty as well, and maybe even Zen World. Zen, if you're watching this, get in touch. Zen World, I mean, I think that could be a super fun conversation. I mean, all the other guys are kind of in this, you know, kind of in the synth scene. We're all talking, and Zen, he comes from more the EDM side of things, and I think he has a little bit of a younger audience. There's a little bit more trolling, a little bit more bad language on his stuff. so yeah, I think we could have some really fun interactions if I interview him. So definitely. Oh, Richard, yeah, I kind of remember you saying something about Mark. Yeah, if you want to get me in touch with Mark, that would be super cool. Because I'd love to have him on. I think me and Mark could have some really interesting conversation. I have a couple of questions that I really want to, you know, talk to him about. You know, and I think we could have some fun talk about YouTube, about music on the internet, about polyphony, and paraphonic and so on. So I think we could have some great talks as well. Yeah, Big Dap, it would be very funny to do something with like myself, Cab Curio, and Cuckoo, definitely. And Cuckoo would also be super cool to have on. I'm quite sure he's busy and all, but he would be a super terrific guest to have on. I have to add him to my little list here as well. And you know, just to kind of create a kind of platform. Studio Geek. yeah, I remember Studio Geek. I think we can play your YouTube video the next review stream as well. It was super funny. the music you made. Yeah, it was super funny. I thought, I don't know, is Cuckoo Norwegian or is he Swedish? I thought Cuckoo was Swedish. I could have sworn he's Swedish but lives in Norway, but I'm not sure. I got super confused about that whole thing. He sounds kind of Swedish, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it would be funny to talk with Schenk as well. Definitely, I'll put him on the list as well. Why not? Why not? And yeah, Jacob from Hack Attack. I talked to him about. I talked to Jacob the other day about having him on the live stream and so on, and I think he'll definitely come on, because I can tell you guys, if you guys don't know, we have this podcast called the Low Pass Podcast with me, Jacob Hack, and Accurate Beats, Andreas. But we haven't really done any podcasts for a while. I think it's simply due to you know, conflicts when it comes to schedule and having too much to do. Because in reality, you know, we're all three very, very busy people. So we're still talking a lot, but still haven't gotten around to making another episode. So I've checked out Simon the Magpie. I know he has been checking my channel out as well, and we've been talking about doing something, but it's not somebody I talk to on the regular. So that's kind of it. Justin, always good having you. Hope to see you later. Have a great day. Okay, why are pirates pirates? Because they are. Haha. Let's see here. Okay, Studio Geek. I need to check what you've been tweeting at me. I need to check what you've been tweeting at me. Let's see here, Studio Geek. Let's see here. So what do you have? Do I need to mute something here? Okay, Sammy. Cool stuff, Sammy. Love it. I love it, Sammy. I just Sammy, I don't want to put this on the screen though, because you have your phone number and everything here. It's not something I want to blast on my stream, but super cool. Super cool. All right, so Idan, tips for achieving better sound on the Minilogue. So Idan, I have a big tutorial for the Minilogue, or I have a couple tutorials. Let me just bring them up. I can post them to you in the stream as well. Let me just see here. If I can find the. Let's see here. Let's see here. I think this is the one. You sort of get these kind of. You sort of detune. So Adan, here is a link to a YouTube playlist. And there are a couple different sound design tutorials there, but the ones I think you should check out are how to make an epic pad and 100 new Minilogue patches and. Now, something I really like about using hardware synthesizers and starting perhaps
off with
I forgot to add something to
like this, is that
I'm going to see if I've added all my tutorials to this
more
playlist. I'll just check that quickly. But on that playlist, you have a couple of different tutorials on sound design as well. Right, Studio Geek, have a nice afternoon. So let me just see here. I think I forgot to add something to that playlist. Goblin, no, I haven't been working with the monologue. I talked about this earlier, and I just haven't bought the monologue. But I do want to get into it, definitely. Let's see here. So I'm just going to edit that playlist real quick, so you have all the videos. Cool, Richard. Super cool. That would be super cool. I'd love to have some different people on the live stream. It's definitely something that I think is a lot of fun. You know, talking to different individuals about their perspectives on being creative, on creating music, doing the YouTube and so on. It's always good, picking YouTubers as well, because it gives you a lot of common ground to talk about in that sense as well. So that's cool. All right, so I've updated that playlist as well with the latest video, so that's cool. Richard, good seeing you as well. What have you missed? I did like this naked dance, like the striptease. Is that something you might want to go back and watch? I'm not sure. Now we've just been sipping the coffee, talking about a number of different things. Okay, cool, Idan. So I've just updated that link, and you should have all what you need over there, and you can just check the epic lead and check the 100 Minilogue patches and the epic pad videos. I think those are the best for what you've been asking. So no, Richard, you haven't been missing out that much. You haven't been missing out that much, really. Goblin asks, have you done a show about the Octatrack versus the new Octatrack? Yeah, I talked about it. I have a video on it. It's not that far down in my video list on my YouTube, where I talk a little bit about the new Octatrack. But in reality, you can go over it and listen to it, but in reality, it's not that different from the Octatrack Mark 1. It's more a physical upgrade. I've also tested it. I played it when I was at Electron and it felt really good. So it's, you know, it's definitely a good upgrade. And yeah, but if it's worth like upgrading, that's totally subjective, super hard to say really. It's, you know, since they have upgraded the physical components, I think it adds years to the Octatrack, and if you're using it a lot, I think it could be definitely worth the upgrade. HSR asks, have you ever released music like album? Yeah, sure. I have music on here on Bandcamp. And I have my music on Spotify and iTunes as well. Now, I haven't released that much on Spotify and iTunes the latest years. I've been more focused on other things. But I do have stuff coming up as well. So I definitely release music. Tristan, hello. Good seeing you as well. Context says, a live stream with you, Cuckoo, 8-bit keys, and Sonic State would be something for me. Pricken över i-et. Yeah. The cat's pyjamas, or how you say. That would be very fun, very fun. I'd love to be on Sonic State someday. I'm not sure what I can add to the conversation, you know, besides cringy jokes and cups of coffee, but it'll be fun. You know, I can just sit there and smile and, you know, look good. That's also a possibility. You know. Yeah, Richard, you're the guy. I had the feeling, you know. I had the feeling you can make stuff happen. That's super cool. Northern Cat, no, I'm of course I'm knowledgeable, but I'm not. You know, sometimes I don't have this long history, I think, as many of the guests have in the scene. So, but I'm not sure. You guys have suggested it many times that I should come on Sonic State. It would be very humbling to do that someday, and someday it might happen. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I can bring. But of course, I've thought about it, and I think I could bring, like, you have DivKid. DivKid is really good with the modular stuff, and you often have guests that are very professional or, very, very knowledgeable from a professional point of view. And probably what I can bring is the love for groove boxes, because I'm a groove box lover, like these all-in-one kind of devices. And also I bring kind of this perspective, like a beginner perspective, I'm very interested in that perspective. I've always been very interested in that perspective, like how to approach things in a way that makes sense to somebody who's not super knowledgeable, like not super nerdy, not super into something. That's kind of what I'm into, and that's pretty much how I teach as well. I do prefer teaching novice classes or intermediate classes, not advanced classes. I don't really enjoy that as much, because in the advanced classes you often have a more technical focus, and when I do like a 2-hour lecture for an advanced class, there's just so much more focus on the technical aspects of something. And when I do a beginner class, there's so much explaining things in between, understanding, like, yeah, okay, so you it doesn't really, I can't just explain technically, because people have too little knowledge to understand what the technical really means. So that's kind of what I love to do. Yeah, exactly, Matthew. Allowing people without any musical know-how to create music. That kind of where, that's kind of where I'm interested of being. Oh damn, am I that sweaty? It looks like I was super sweaty in the screenshot here. The screen here. It's actually if I'm sweating, it's actually super, super warm inside the studio, because I have 3 computers and it's there's no real good ventilation. It's super warm. Probably the death of my my synthesizers. So let's see here. What other questions do we have here? Cool, Richard, that you've been chatting with Gas. Gas is also a dude that I think me and Gas are probably on the same wavelength in many different things. He seems to love these small toy things as well. Yeah, Lost Jeff Ukulele. Not having as much experience definitely gives a different perspective on things. Definitely. And also, it's not only that I don't have the same kind of background with in-depth knowledge of synthesizers, 20 years back. It's that I've been doing music for 17 years, but I've always approached it in a different way from, I think, from a lot of people. Just having a slightly different mindset. So, yeah. Heathcliff, yeah, it would be super cool to get on Beat People. They seem very cool as well. Then, of course, I don't really come from I've had my connections to the hip hop crowd and the hip hop scene in Sweden, but I don't really feel like I connect with that culture. So perhaps I'm kind of a strange guest to have. But if they have like a certain topic that I could talk about, yeah, sure. JT is curious. Digital synth or analog synth? Which do you prefer? Man, analog. Analog. Yeah, I do prefer analog synths. I've said before that somehow I just get a better results from it. I think digital synths are totally fine. I just have an easier time getting the sounds I want from the analog stuff. Audio Dabbler, yeah. The iOS apps are really nice in that sense, that it's such a low entry when it comes to getting into music production, for sure. Yeah, the heart wants what the heart wants. Jeff, my first instrument was a flute. That was my first instrument. So I played the flute, like the not even the cool, the one that goes to the side, but the kind of boring wooden flute. And yeah, I played that, and then I played the keys, and then I got myself a groove box. That was pretty much I got the Yamaha R1X sometime 98 or 99. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 99. That was kind of where the starting point was, and I spent like a year learning it. That was kind of it. Guys, it's super. I was hesitant to live stream today because of all the technical issues, but I'm super pleased that I did it. I do feel like we need to end things for today, because I do have some more paperwork to take care of on the boring business side of things before I can call it quits today. But it was super pleasing to live stream with you guys, and I hope to do it again this week. I'm also planning a review stream where we'll be reviewing your music. So if you aren't already hooked up to me, if you're not already connected to me on Facebook, you should really do that, because I think it's the easiest way to stay up to date with the live stream schedule and so on. So here's the links again. And yeah, Interpolate, Electron HQ video coming soon. Interpolate, I did my vlog from Gothenburg. It's on the channel, but I don't have any footage from the HQ. I thought it was kind of bad manners to start filming there. So I might do a little bit more of a video for my patrons over on patreon.com/bowbeats. A little bit more of a little bit more of a like a yeah, how do you say, disclosing some stuff from that meeting. But I think I will keep that for the patrons, just as something a little extra, a little bit behind the scenes. So it's not that much new information, but it's some information regarding my channel and so on. So I'm hoping to do that video soon for the patrons, just a quick video on that. And of course, if you're interested in my Minilogue patches, those are available here as well. You can just check that link as well if that's something you're interested in as well. Yeah, Coffee Club NDA is best NDA. Yeah. So, yeah, Interpollet, I can't really disclose that much of what's going on in their lab, what's going on like in future products and so on. Of course, they are a company. They will have future products. And yeah, I do have some insight into that, but I can't speak on it. And but I do also have some stuff to disclose when it comes to my kind of relationship to Electron. I think I'll put that in a Patreon video. So guys, I hope to catch you another day here on the live stream. Don't forget to hit the like button before you leave, and I hope you have a super pleasant day. So thank you all for sticking around, and don't forget to fill up that cup of coffee if you need to. So thank you so much, and have an awesome day, guys.